Today, we're diving into a fascinating world of attitudes and influencing attitudes. Attitudes are the lenses through which we view the world, shaping our beliefs, thoughts, and actions. They can be influenced by various factors such as upbringing, experiences, and even the people we surround ourselves with. Now, let's talk about influencing. It is all about understanding, connecting with people on a deeper level. It's about being empathetic, respectful, and genuinely interested in others. When we influence others, we're not just trying to change their minds, but rather, we're trying to understand their perspective and find a common ground. Remember, influencing is not just about manipulation or persuasion, but it's also about fostering a meaningful connection and a mutual understanding. So, let's all strive to be better and understanding and connecting with others. So, let's continue this with the other discussion. As can you see on the screen, those are the attitude components and manifestation. Cognitive component is a cognitive component consists of consumer's belief about an object. For the most attitude objects, people have a number of beliefs. For example, an individual may believe that Mountain Dew is popular with the younger consumers, contains a lot of caffeine, and are competitively priced and also made by a large company. The more positive beliefs associated with a brand, the more positive each belief, it is easier it is for the individual to recall beliefs, the more favorable overall cognitive component presumed to be 5, and because all of the components of attitude are generally consist, the more favorable the overall attitude is. The logic underlines what is known as the multi-tribute attitude model. The affective component, also known as the emotional component, is all about our feelings and emotion. It was drive us to make decisions from a relationship and negative through life. Our emotions can be powerful, and understanding them is a crucial to understanding ourselves. Also, behavioral component, it's all about our action and behaviors. It what we do, how we interact with the world, and how we express ourselves. Our actions are shaped by our emotions, experiences, and beliefs. Component consistency. All three attitude components tend to be consistent. This means that a change in attitude component tends to produce related changes to the other components. The tendency bases substantial amount of marketing strategy. This three is the attitude component consistency. Attitude change strategies. Marketers often attempt to influence consumers by changing one or more of the underlying attitude components. Such as influence can be positive as we can saw at the chapter's opening vignette. However, social, ethical, and regulatory concerns arise when companies attempt to promote potentially harmful consumption behaviors or when persuasion attempts are deemed deceptive. Change the cognitive component. A common and effective approach to changing attitudes is to focus on the cognitive component. The four basic marketing strategies are used for altering the cognitive structure of a consumer's attitudes. Change beliefs. These strategies involve shifting beliefs about the performance of the brand on one and more attributes. First, shift importance. Most consumers considered some product attributes to be more important than others. Marketers often try to convince consumers that one attributes on which their brands are relatively strong are the most important. Second, add beliefs. Another approach to changing the cognitive component of an attitude is to add new beliefs to the consumer's belief structure. Third, change deal. The final strategy for changing the cognitive component is to change the perception, ideal brand, or situation. Change the affective component. Firms increasingly attempt to influence consumers' liking of their brands without directly influencing their beliefs and behavior. First on the list, classical conditioning. One way of directly influencing the affective component through the classical conditioning effect toward the ad or the website. As we can saw in the chapter 10, liking advertisement generally increase the tendency to like the brand. Mere exposure. While controversial, there are evidence that affect the brand preference also increased by the mere exposure. That is simply presenting a brand to an individual on a large number of occasions might make the individual attitude toward the brand more positive. Individual and situational characteristics that influence attitude change. Attitude change is determined by individual and situational factors as well as marketing activities. Individual factors including gender, need for cognition, consumer knowledge, and ethnicity, and as we saw in the chapter 10, regulatory focus. Situational factors include program context, level viewer distraction, and buying occasion. Q relevance and competitive situation. Generally speaking, compared with the attitudes formed under the peripheral route, attitudes formed under the central route tend to be stronger, more resistant to the counter-persuasion attempts, more accessible from a memory, and more predictive of behavior. As can you see on the screen, this is the elaboration likelihood model by the central route to persuasion and peripheral route to persuasion. The exposure to the marketing message, consumers' resistance to persuasion. Consumers are not passive to the persuasion attempts. Instead, consumers are often skeptical and resist persuasion. Also, consumers frequently infer an advertiser intent and respond in the light of the presumed selling intent. So, the second reporter will continue the discussion about the attitude influencing attitude. Jessa?
Good morning everyone, I am Jessamine Alvaro and let's discuss about the characteristics that influence attitude formation and change. So in this section, we describe communication techniques that can be used to form and change attitudes. And these are the source characteristics. The source of a communication represents who delivers the message. Sources include people like celebrities, typical consumers, animated spokes characters like Mr. Peanut, Jolly Green Giant, and organizations like the company or a third-party endorser. And the first characteristic is a source credibility. Consists of trustworthiness and expertise, a source that has no ulterior motive to provide anything other than complete and accurate information would generally be considered trustworthy. In a testimonial ad, a person, generally a typical member of the target market, recounts his or her successful use of the product, service, or idea. Independent third-party endorsements by organizations such as the American Dental Associations are widely viewed as both trustworthy and expert by consumers and are actively sought by marketers. Next is celebrity sources. Celebrities are widely used in advertising. Marketers are increasingly using culturally diverse celebrities to reach an ethnically diverse U.S. population. And celebrity sources are effective for a variety of reasons. First is attention. Celebrities may attract attention to the advertisement. Consumers tend to be curious about celebrities and are drawn to ads in which they appear. Next, attitude toward the ad. A celebrity's likability and popularity often translate into higher ad. Next is trustworthiness. Despite being paid for their endorsements, celebrities often develop strong and credible public personas that consumers trust. Then, expertise. So, some celebrities are also experts. Ayan, aspirational aspects. Consumers may identify with or desire to emulate the celebrity. And lastly, meaning transfer. Consumers may associate known characteristics of the celebrity with attributes of the product that coincide with their own needs or desires. Third characteristic is sponsorship. A company providing financial support for an event, such as the Olympics or a concert, is one of the most rapidly growing marketing activities in the million-dollar industry. Sponsorships often work in the same manner as using a celebrity endorser, that is, the characteristics of the sponsored event may become associated with the sponsoring organizations. So next, appeal characteristics. So as you would expect, the nature of the appeal or how a message is communicated affects attitude formation and change. First appeal characteristic is what we called fear appeals. So use the threat of negative unpleasant consequences if attitudes or behaviors are not altered. Fear appeals are frequently criticized as unethical. Frequent targets of such criticisms are fear appeals based on social anxieties about bad breath, body odor, dandruff, or soiled clothes. Second is humorous appeals. At almost the opposite end of the spectrum from fear peoples, or fear appeals rather, are humorous appeals. Ads built around humor appear to increase attention and to liking of the ad, particularly for those individuals high in need for humor. The overall effectiveness of humor is generally increased when the humor relates the product or brand in a meaningful way and is viewed as appropriate for the product by the target audience. Humor is widely used in advertising to attract attentions and alter attitudes. Next is comparative ads. Comparative ads directly compare the features or benefits of two or more brands. Comparative ads are often more effective than non-comparative ads in generating attention, message, and brand awareness, greater message processing, favorable sponsor brand attitudes, and increased purchase intentions and behaviors. Number four is emotional appeals or feeling ads. It is being used with increasing frequency. Emotional ads are designed primarily to elicit a positive affect response rather than to provide information or arguments. So, emotional advertisements may enhance persuasion by increasing attention and processing of the ad, and recall, liking of the ad, product liking through classical conditioning, and product liking through high involvement process. Number five is value expressive versus utilitarian appeals. Value expressive appeals attempt to build a personality for the product or create an image of the product user, while utilitarian appeals involve informing the consumer of one or more functional benefits that are important to the target market. Both theory and some empirical evidence indicate that utilitarian appeals are most effective for functional products and value expressive appeals are most effective for products designed to enhance self-image or provide other intangible benefits. Next, we have message structure characteristic. First is one-sided versus two-sided messages. In advertisement and sales presentations, marketers generally present only the benefits of their product without mentioning any negative characteristics it might possess or any advantages a competitor might have. These are one-sided messages since only one point of view is expressed. And the idea of a two-sided message presenting both good and bad points is counterintuitive, and most marketers are reluctant to try such an approach. Next is positive versus negative framing. Message framing refers to presenting one of two equivalent value outcomes, either in positive or gain terms, or what we call positive framing, or in negative or loss terms, which means negative framing. These are various types of messages frames, and the type of frame influences whether positive or negative framing is best. The simplest form appears to be attribute framing, where only a single attribute is the focus of the frame. Third is nonverbal components emotional adds. It is described earlier, often rely primarily or exclusively on nonverbal content to arouse an emotional response. Nonverbal ad content can also affect cognitions about a product. For example, an ad showing a person drinking a new beverage after exercise provides information about appropriate usage situations without stating good to use after exercise. Thus, nonverbal components can influence attitudes through affect, cognition, or both. We proceed about the market segmentation and product development strategies based on attitudes. First, market segmentation, identifying market segment, is a key aspect of marketing. Properly designed marketing programs should be built around the unique needs of each market segment. Segmenting consumers on the basis of their most important attribute or attributes is called benefit segmentation. Number two is product development. While the importance consumers attach to key attributes provides a meaningful way to understand needs and form benefit segment. The ideal levels of performance indicates the consumer's desired level of performance in satisfying those needs. These ideal levels of performance can provide valuable guidelines in developing a new product or reformulating an existing one.
Hello everyone, I am Brendan Almabis and here's our second report, Chapter 12, Self-Concept and Lifestyle. Self-concept is defined as a totality of the individual's thoughts and feelings, having reference to himself or herself as an object. It is an individual's perceptions of and feelings towards him or herself. In other words, your self-concept is composed of the attitudes you hold toward yourself. Self-concept can be divided into four basic parts. The first and the second one is actual and ideal. The actual ideal distinction refers to the individual's perception of who I am now, actual self-concept, and who I would like to be, ideal self-concept. The third and fourth one is private versus social. The private self refers to how I am or would like to be to myself, private self-concept. And the social self is how I am seen by others or how I would like to be seen by others, social self-concept. Next is self-concept is categorized in two types, interdependent and dependent self-concept. The interdependent self-concept emphasizes family, cultural, professional, and social relationships. Individuals with an interdependent self-concept tend to be obedient, social-centric, holistic, connected, and relation-oriented. And the other one is the independent self-concept emphasizes personal goals, characteristics, achievements, and desires. Individuals with an independent self-concept tend to be individualistic, egocentric, autonomous, self-reliant, and self-contained. Next is the possessions and the extended self. Some products acquire substantial meaning to an individual or are used to signal particularly important aspects of that person's self to others. Beck developed a theory called the extended self. In this illustration is an example of an extended self which the ads works best when their appeal matches the dominant type of self-concept held by the target market. This ad will be effective with the interdependent self-concept common in Western cultures. The extended self consists of self plus possessions, that is, people tend to define themselves in part by their possessions. Example with these statements from consumers who lost their positions in natural disaster who had enough insurance to replace them. First consumer said is that, yeah, we got better stuff, but it doesn't mean anything to us. It's just stuff. And the other consumer said, you can't put back or replace what you had. It was too personal. It was customized. In this example, you can see the different kinds of self-concept on how they value their possessions. Next is measuring self-concept. Using the self-concept in marketing requires that it be measurable. The most common measurement approach is the semantic differential. In this table, you can see the measurement scale that can be used to ensure a match between the self-concept, the actual or ideal of a target market, the image of a brand, and the characteristic of an advertising spokesperson. For example, in its decision to sign Serena Williams to a multi-year endorsement contract, Nike undoubtedly saw a match between the desired self-concept of young woman, the desired image for Nike's women's athletic apparel line, and the image of Serena Williams. In this picture, you will see that Serena Williams is showing the concept of young woman doing sports. Next is about using self-concept to position products. To obtain their ideal self-concept or maintain their actual self-concept often involve the purchase and consumption of products, services, and media. In this figure, you will see that product brand image and consumer self-concept is connected to a relationship between self-concept and brand image that will connect to behavior that seeks product and brands that improve maintain self-concept. And the satisfaction behavior is connected to satisfaction that is purchase contributes to desired self-concept, which go back to the consumers for their self-concept. This suggests that marketers should strive to develop product images that are consistent with the self-concepts of their target markets. While everyone's self-concept is unique, there is also significant overlap across individuals and groups, which is one basis for market segmentation. For example, in this photo, many consumers see themselves as environmentalists. Companies and products that create an image of being concerned about or good for the environment are likely to be supported by these consumers. Next is about marketing ethics and self-concept. Marketing ethics refers to the principles and values that guide the behavior of marketers, emphasizing honesty, responsibility, fairness, and respect for consumers and society. The nature of lifestyle is how a person lives. It is how a person shows her or his self-concept and is determined by past experience and current situations. One's lifestyle influences all aspects of consumption behavior and is a function of inherent individual characteristics that have been shaped and formed through social interaction as the person has evolved through the life of cycle. Individuals and households both have lifestyles. Although household lifestyles are in part determined by the individual lifestyle of the household members, the reverse is also true. Individuals' desired lifestyles influence their needs and desire, and thus their purchase and use behavior. Desired lifestyle, on the other hand, determines many of a person's consumption decisions, which in turn reinforce or alter that person's lifestyle. And in this figure, you can see the example of lifestyle and the consumption process. And in this illustration is an example of a website that targets the lifestyle of extreme sports enthusiasts. Psychographics or lifestyle research generally encompasses the following elements. The first one is attitudes. Evaluate statements about other people, places, ideas, products, and so forth. The second one is values. Widely held beliefs about what is acceptable and desirable. And the third one is activities and interests, non-occupational behaviors to which consumers devote time and effort, such as hobbies, sport, public service, and church. The fourth one is demographics. age, education, income, occupation, family structure, ethnic background, gender, and geographic location. And the fifth one is media patterns, the specific media the consumers utilize. And the last one is usage rates, measurements of consumption within the specified product category. Often consumers are categorized as heavy, medium, or light users as non-users. Next is general versus specific lifestyle schemes. Lifestyle measurements can be developed with different levels of detail. On one end, marketers may examine broad lifestyle trends across a population. These broad approaches are not tied to any specific product or activity, allowing them to be used in craft marketing strategies for a wide array of products and brands. Next is the VALS system. VALS is based on enduring psychological characteristics that correlate with purchase patterns. Respondents are classified according to their primary motivation, which serves as one of VAL's two dimensions. First is ideals motivation. These consumers are guided in their choices by their beliefs and principles rather than by feelings or desire for social approval. They purchase functionally and reliability. Achievement motivation. These consumers strive for a clear social position and are strongly influenced by the action, approval, and opinions of others. They purchase status symbols. And last is the self-expression motivation. These action-oriented consumers strive to express their individuality through their choices. They purchase experience. And here is an example of how VALS system works. In the first figure, you can see that the VALS has a framework, and in the table 1, it has a primary motivation, and the second table, it shows the selected demographics of the VALS system. Next is about the VALS segments. First is the innovators, are successful, sophisticated, active, take-charge people with high self-esteem and abundant resources. Innovators are motivated by a blend of ideals, achievement, and self-expression. Image is important to innovators not as evidence of status or power, but as an expression of their taste, independence, and character. Here in this illustration shows that this ad would appeal to innovators' desire for growth and their taste for the finer things in life. The second one is the thinkers and believers, ideals motivated. Ideals motivated consumers base their decisions on abstract idealized criteria such as quality, integrity, and tradition. They seek to behave in ways that are consistent with their views of how the world is or should be. And the third one is the achievers and strivers, achievement motivated. Achievement-oriented consumers make choices to enhance their position or to facilitate their move to a more desirable group. Strivers look to others to indicate what they should be and do, whereas achievers look to their own peer group. Achievers are successful career and work-oriented people who like to and generally do feel in control of their lives. The fourth one is the experiencers and makers. Self-expression motivated. Motivated consumers like to affect their environment in tangible ways. Makers do so by physically altering their environment at home. And in this illustration is an example for experiencers that are impulsive and social because they like new and offbeat things. The last one is the survivors. They live simply on limited incomes but are relatively satisfied. Frequently elderly and concerned about their health, they are not active in the marketplace. Survivor shows no evidence of a strong primary motivation. That's all. Thank you. And the next reporter will be Mayan Basa.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Mayan Basa and I am the last reporter of this group. Geo-lifestyle analysis. Claritas, a leading firm in this industry, describes the logic of geodemographic analysis. People with similar cultural backgrounds, means, and perspective naturally gravitate toward one another. They choose to live among their peers in neighborhoods offering affordable advantages and compatible lifestyle. Once settled in, people naturally emulate their neighbors. They adopt similar social values, tastes, and expectations. They exhibit shared patterns of consumer behavior toward products, services, media, and promotions. Geodemographic analysis examine how lifestyle and consumption are influenced by demographic factors across various geographic regions, from broad areas like states and countries to specific ones like individual households. Marketers use this data for targeting, promotions, and site selection. Claritas has enhanced his analysis by integrating detailed product consumption and media usage data, creating the PRISM system, which segments households into 66 lifestyle system categories. The latest version PRISM New Evolution profiles households based on these lifestyle groups using updated census data. PRISM Social and Life Stage Groups. PRISM organized its 66 individual segments into broader social and lifestyle group. The broadest social groupings are based on urbanicity. Urbanicity is determined by population density, relates to where people live, and is strongly related to the lifestyle people lead. And the four major social groups are: first, urban, major cities with high population density. Second, suburban, moderately dense suburban areas surrounding metropolitan areas. Third, second city, smaller, less densely populated cities or satellites to major cities. And fourth, town and country, low-density towns communities. The broadest life stage groups are based on age and the presence of children. The three groups are Chapter 12 Self-Concept and Lifestyle Major Life Stage. Younger years, singles, and couples under 45 years of age with no children. Family life, middle age 25 to 54, families with children. Mature years, singles, and couple over 45 years of age. Sample PRISM segments. 8 specific segments in demonstrating how PRISM can be used in developing successful marketing strategies for information on all segments. Young, Tegerity, younger years PRISM segment 04 are young, upscale, and technology. They live in fashionable neighborhoods.
They are highly educated professionals who are ethnically diverse, including a high concentration of Asians.
Second, blue blood estates, suburban or family PRISM segment number 2, are middle-aged married couples with children. They live in exclusive neighborhoods with private clubs. They are highly educated, wealthy business executives and professionals. Third, big fish, small pond, town or matured PRISM segment 09 are older empty nester couples who are leaders in their small communities. They are affluent, typically college-educated professionals. Fourth, pools and patios, suburban or mature PRISM segment 15, are evolving into older empty nester couples as their children grow up and leave home. They live in older, stable neighborhoods with pools and patios in their backyards. Fifth, bohemian mix, urban or younger years PRISM segment 16, are young, mobile, liberal singles. They are ethnically diverse with high concentrations of Hispanics, Asians, and African Americans. 6. Urban achievers, urban younger years PRISM segment 31, are young singles often located in port cities. They are ethnically diverse with high concentration of African Americans, Asians, and Hispanic as well as recent immigrants. 7. Young and rustic or town younger years PRISM segment 48 are young restless singles. They are less educated, typically Caucasian, work in low-paying blue-collar jobs, and live in tiny apartments. And lastly, golden pants or town mature PRISM segment 55 are retired or soon-to-be singles and couples. They are less educated, work in blue-collar with farm jobs and are lower income. Applications of PRISM in marketing strategy. Marketing a Las Vegas casino. A Las Vegas casino uses the PRISM system to analyze and categorize its customer base, identifying key segments like young, Gujarati, and big fish, small pond, who are affluent and well-educated professionals. They found that segments like young and rustics and golden pans were less attractive due to their lower income and education levels. The casino also identified the Blue Blood Estates segment as an underutilized but promising group similar to their core customers. By targeting these high-opportunity segments while focusing on their core audience, the casino effectively attracted new, profitable customers. A library gets hip to a younger crowd. The Lakewood Public Library recognized that its traditional offerings weren't attracting its increasingly younger, diverse population. After conducting market research using Prism, the library discovered that segments like urban achievers and bohemian mix were prominent in their community. To address this, the library revamped its content and programming to cater to these groups, successfully engaging the younger, diverse residents. The New Urban America, Soho 1003, similarly New York City's 10003 zip code, known for its young, multicultural population, also reflects a trend where marketing targets upscale, trendy products to this demographic. The VALS and PRISM systems presented in this chapter are oriented to the United States. In addition, VALS has systems for Japan and the United Kingdom reflecting the global nature of marketing. Identifying lifestyle segments that are consistent across cultures enables marketers to create cross-cultural strategies, despite language and cultural differences. International firms like Roper Starch Worldwide have conducted surveys across 35 countries to identify 6 global lifestyle segments based on core values. These segments vary in prevalence by country, such as Brazil having the highest proportion of fun seekers. Marketers use standardized attempts to appeal similar lifestyles groups across different cultures. Table 12.6 outlines 6 global lifestyle segments identified by Roper Stark. First, strivers 23%. Value material and professional goals are driven by wealth, status, and power. They like computers and cell phones but have little time for media beyond newspapers. Second, devout 22%. Value duty, tradition, faith, obedience, and respect for elders. They are the least media by Roper Stark involved and least interested in Western brands. Third, altruists 18% are interested in social issues and the welfare of society. They are well educated and older with a median age of 44. Fourth, intimates 15% value close personal relationships and family. They are heavy users of broadcast media, enjoy cooking and gardening, and are good targets for familiar consumer brands. Fifth, fun seeker 12% value adventure, pleasure, and excitement. They are heavy users of electronic media, are fashion conscious, and like going to restaurants, bars, and clubs. Fun seekers are the youngest. Sixth, creatives 10% are interested in knowledge, education, and technology. They are the heaviest user of media, particularly books, magazines, and newspapers. They also lead the way in technology, including owning a computer and surfing the net. For today, thank you for watching!